Alrighty, people. We are live on my Twitter and the Fireside Knicks YouTube. In just a moment, we will also be on the Fireside Knicks Instagram. I was not planning to do a live stream for this game, but after what went down tonight, I felt like it was necessary for me to come on here to discuss just how this game went. We'll start with the basics. This Knicks team feels broken right now. I don't think there's really another way for me to describe that other than that it just feels broken. Um, right now, nothing is going the Knicks' way. The slow starts continue to plague them. And first off, what's up to everybody in the chat? I see we have a decent amount of people that have already tuned in, so I do appreciate the people that are on any platform. We're right now on Instagram, my Twitter, and the Fireside Knicks YouTube. So shout out to everybody who is tuned in on each of those said platforms. Obviously, the basics. The Knicks lost this game 94 to 111. We all just watched it, or most of us just watched it. We know how this game went. I'm not going to dive into it too much in terms of just the outcome. This was a pretty ugly game. No other way about it. They were pretty much down the entire game. They started the game down 14 to 1. Also, I do apologize if the quality at any point in this stream starts to lag or anything. Again, I've tried everything with every troubleshoot imaginable. Sometimes it just likes to do that, but sometimes it clears up at the same time. And I will get to some comments. I know there's some people commenting on Instagram right now, especially. I will get to those in just a moment. I'm not going to stream for too long. This isn't going to be like no hour-long stream. I'll probably keep this no longer than 30 minutes. But anyways, with that being said, this team just feels broken right now. The slow starts continue to happen. The team still feels disconnected, disjointed. They don't seem like they're flowing well on the court. The offense gets too clunky many times. The defense, once again, took a huge step back today. It's getting really frustrating, and I think we're at a point now where we can actually be seriously concerned. Look, I don't mean to be like, some negative guy on here because I know some people think, that I can be a little negative, and that's fine. You're allowed to feel how you feel about the way I project the content on here, but I think some of the things that I've been talking about though are justifiable, especially the fact that right now this team had such a high standard of being, a finals team and making it to the finals and being a dominant team. And while they can easily still do that in a couple weeks from now when the playoffs begin, because they are in fact going to the playoffs, the fact of the matter is they are not playing like a championship basketball team right now, and they haven't been playing like a basketball team. A championship basketball team for over a month. Really, since that San Antonio, not since San Antonio Spurs game, more like since that Denver Nuggets blowout. Since that game, it doesn't really feel like they have been playing championship caliber basketball. And look, we can't have that happening at this point in the season. There are 6 games left for the New York Knicks. There are less than 2 weeks left in the season, and we're playing like a middle of the pack team, like a team that's kind of just glad to be there. And that's not okay. The expectations and the standards should be way higher than that for this group. This group was expected to go to the finals. They're still expected to go to the finals. Right now, they're not playing like they want to go to the finals. Right now, they just have no connectivity, no chemistry. It's broken. It's broken. I don't know who we can blame at this point. I don't think we can blame it really on one person anymore. I think it's everybody involved. I think it's the coach. I think it's the players. I think it's everybody. I think everybody involved in this collaborative effort is to blame here for this. This is not just some small thing anymore where we can go, oh well, Josh Hart starting is the reason, or oh, Mikal Bridges not doing good is the reason, or Mike Brown is the reason. No, I think it's everybody at this point. I think we can look at everybody. I think every single person that is heavily involved with the way that this group operates is at fault. And look, they can easily fix it in the next 6 games and turn it around and end the season strong. But my confidence in that occurring is not high at the moment because of how they look today. Look, the slow starts have been something that have plagued the Knicks for several months now. I have been coming on here, both on our videos and on social media and in our Instagram posts, talking about how the slow starts are super problematic. And look, at the end of the day, if they win some of these games, they win some of these games. But there was going to be a point always where the slow starts were going to catch up to them. And tonight, it did. tonight, they started the game down 14-1, down 14-1, and then they made it close. They cut it to 4 in the second quarter. First off, why can't they do that more often? Why can't they start the game like how they played in that second quarter? And then they ended that second quarter doing the same stuff they did in that first quarter. Bad defense, no, no offensive ball movement, a lack of willing to score, just bad basketball. And we can look at the Rockets and say credit to them for playing physical and playing desperate. That is a team that is still fighting for a playoff spot, and they're right now the sixth seed in the West. I believe they're still a sixth seed after tonight, but they're close to being in the play-in. They had to play desperate. They're playing a little tougher, just given their circumstances, but look, the Knicks are supposed to also prove something. The Knicks have not proved anything at this point other than that they're just an inconsistent and broken group. That's the reality. They are inconsistent. And again, I've brought up the word consistency so many times throughout all of my streams, throughout all the videos, throughout everything. I've brought up consistency. And once again, it became an issue tonight. Jalen Brunson did not have a good game. And Josh Hart did not have a good game. Mikal Bridges did not have a good game. OG Anunoby did not have a good game. Karl-Anthony Towns had 4 shot attempts in the first half. He started to get going in the second half, but by then, you're already down double digits. You're playing catch up the entire night. You cannot continue to do that. You can't just expect to have to play catch up, and that's how you're going to win games. Because in the playoffs, you're not going to get away with that. Tonight, they faced a playoff team. Okay, a team that a lot of people also expected to potentially go far into the playoffs this year. And the Rockets, for all we know, their expectations this year, or at least the way they've played up to it, maybe they haven't played up to their standards either. But the Knicks just faced a team tonight that is going to the postseason, or most likely going to the postseason, and they look terrible. And really, the last 3 games have been against teams that will probably be playing more basketball after the regular season. And they look terrible against all 3 of them. Look, the Thunder game, I thought they fought hard in, but I ultimately never felt like they played well enough for most of that game to win that game. I don't think they played well enough. And of course, against Charlotte, they ran them off the floor. They just outran them, out hustled them, outdid everything. And then tonight, they were just outclassed from start to finish. They had 1 lead tonight, and it was 1-0. 1-0. 1 free throw was made within the first few seconds of the game, and that was their only lead. That was their only lead tonight. And again, bad nights happen in the league. There's going to be times where, you're going to have games like this. But this is happening a little far too often for this group. And look, we can look at the winning streak too, and I can talk about how the winning streak was disappointing because of the way they played. And I'm going to say that. I think the winning streak was very disappointing. I think the way they played in that 7-game win streak is exactly what they're doing right now. They're creating bad habits that are floating over into the more important games. And mind you, if the Cleveland Cavaliers do in fact win tonight, they will essentially be tied for the 3rd seed with the Cavs. The Knicks will have the tiebreaker, so if they end up tied, then they have the tiebreaker. But right now, Cleveland is playing the Lakers, and we won't know the outcome of that game for a couple more hours because they're only in the second quarter right now against the Lakers. But regardless, the fact that we're in that position now where we're dangerously close to the 4th seed, it's serious time now for the Knicks to really lock in and figure things out. We're not at a point anymore where we can just pack it in and kind of just be like, okay, well, we clinched the playoffs. Let's just get to the playoffs healthy. They're still fighting for a seed, and they still have to figure some things out before the postseason. The players still don't know their roles. Everyone still feels so disconnected. This is not a championship level team that they're playing like right now. And it's disappointing because, look, the Knicks have had some awful teams over the years, and we all know this more than ever, but I've never been more disappointed in a team with such high expectations right now than this one. And look, they have a good record. They're 20 games over 500. They are sitting 3rd in the Eastern Conference. Some of the metrics suggest that they're one of the best offensive and defensive teams in the league. But, the amount of bad habits they're creating is going to hurt them in the postseason if this continues. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's an end in sight. They can beat up on all these bad teams all they want. They have 2 bad teams coming up where they have the Grizzlies tomorrow night and then the Bulls after that. Those are 2 bad teams. You lose to either one of those teams, then we have even more problems to discuss. Those should be 2 free wins right there. But I don't think we can really look at these next 2 games as like, they're back. They're in great shape. No, those are 2 bad teams that are basically going to give them the win tomorrow and the day and 2 days after that. So, with all that being said, I'm so disappointed. I'm really disappointed. I could go off on a specific player. I could go off on a specific coach. I could go off on really anything right now. Um, I could go off on anything, but everyone's at fault here. This is a whole team problem. The team itself right now, as a unit, is broken. It's broken. The coach and the players do not mesh. The players might not even be meshing with each other, and it's just not working. It's not working. And look, I acknowledge that the playoffs could be completely different, and that maybe this entire conversation that I'm having right now will be all forgotten about in April and May and hopefully June. Um, but right now, I'm staying present right now, and right now I am looking at this group, and it's hard for me to take them seriously as a serious contender with the way they're playing right now. I'm just being honest. It is hard for me to look at them and say that this team can go to the finals if this is how they're going to be playing. And bad nights happen. It happens, but it's happening too much for a team that's supposed to kind of cruise through the Eastern Conference. Mind you, a lot of people had the Knicks having an easy way, an easy pathway to the NBA Finals because Boston Celtics didn't have Jason Tatum, Indiana Pacers no Tyrese Halliburton, and all that other stuff. Mind you, of course, the Pistons are playing well above the expectation they were handed, and so are the Celtics. So you know we can take those preseason predictions with a grain of salt, sure. But the Knicks have felt like a team that struggled to kind of find a rhythm all year. They started 23-9, and you felt like that was kind of who they were. Now, though, I don't really know what this team is. I don't know if this team is like a true contender or if this team is just fraudulent. If this team is bound to fizzle out in the second round or in the conference finals if they get there. I don't know anymore. And I don't like not knowing what kind of group we have here because I was expecting at this point to feel good about where the team was at. I was hoping that even through that winning streak that they would have figured out a way to kind of break some of the bad habits that were happening during the winning streak. We saw Mitchell Robinson was really vocal about some of the issues. Mike Brown was pretty vocal about some of these issues. But nothing's changing right now. The slow starts just continue, and at this point, we can say that we need to bench Josh Hart and move Josh Hart out of the starting five. Sure, maybe that's a starting point. I don't think that's going to fix everything though. I think the team just has too many flaws at this moment in time for me to really take them as seriously as I thought I'd be able to. Now, granted, I'm not giving up on the team. I'm still going to be watching every single game and hoping that everything turns around and everything fixes itself in these remaining games before the postseason. I ain't giving up, but I am very frustrated right now with how they're playing, and I think it's very reasonable to be upset about this because once again, it's just up and down with this group. No consistency at all, and enough is enough. I mean, we're literally 40 minutes away from being in April, and we still don't know what each player's role is. Karl-Anthony Towns still doesn't know what his role is. Josh Hart appears to still not know what his role is. I don't think Mikal Bridges knows what his role is either. I mean, why are we at this point in the season and players don't know what they're supposed to be doing? Why? I feel like at this point in the year we should have an idea of what the players are supposed to be doing. I don't get it anymore. I don't understand. I'm gonna stop venting for a moment and take a look at some comments. A lot of people on Instagram have been commenting. I'm gonna kind of scroll up a little bit to see some earlier comments, just to kind of get an idea of what you guys have been talking about. And a lot of people have been commenting, so it's gonna be impossible for me to get every comment. So I do apologize if I don't get to your comment. Um, Please know it's not on purpose. There's so many comments. Someone said players only meeting before the Memphis game tomorrow. Look, I don't even know if a players only meeting is going to change much at this point. I mean, dude, there's 6 games. Look, I'm not discrediting your point. I want to point that out. I'm not. I'm just frustrated. So I do apologize if I come off a little stern, but I don't even know if a players only meeting is going to fix it at this point because we can have Brunson just scream at the guys or Cat scream at the guys, whatever. The body language around the group is just awful right now, though. Karl-Anthony Towns, I mean, a lot of us saw the clip. Karl-Anthony Towns made that nice pass to OG in that corner three for that buzzer beater at the end of the second quarter, and he looked pissed. He was frustrated. After the game, Jalen Brunson, same look, just dejected. No, it's not good. And I'm not expecting the body language to be like super good after a loss. No, but like, there's no energy. someone put this out on Twitter, and they said that the bench was standing up throughout the first half, like a 16 seed trying to beat a 1 seed in a NCAA tournament game. And I hate how accurate that comparison is, honestly, because this team's supposed to be better than that. Look, I'm not saying that the players standing up and trying to cheer their team on is a bad thing, but I just think it's funny that that's kind of where we're at now. I'm going to scroll down to more recent comments. I see we have more viewers that have come in to join. I do appreciate everybody that is tuning in currently on this very much impromptu and last minute stream that I was not initially planning to do, but that I felt like was necessary. And I think you guys wanted to hear some of my input on this game. Let's go to some more recent comments. Let's see what you guys have been saying. Someone said I'd be putting in Kolek with Cat. Look, I think Kolek could be playing, but I don't think Kolek's going to solve everything at the moment. I think their problems are a little deeper than just simply like swapping Jose Alvarado for Kolek or swapping somebody else for Kolek. I think the problems are a little deeper than that. I think really it's just I think there's just no connectivity right now. I don't know what the solution is. Look, this is the situation where I'm looking at Mike Brown right now and going, what are you going to do to fix this? Because Mike Brown, you are the head coach of this team. You are supposed to make sure your guys are locked in, and you guys that the players are, knowing their roles, understanding everything, and playing how they're supposed to play, and playing like a championship team. Mike Brown said it himself after that Golden State game. That it is a veteran team. He shouldn't have to call 2 timeouts in the first couple minutes of the game. And today, he called 2 timeouts within 7 minutes, I think. Something like that. I mean, I just don't understand. Why are we still having this disconnect? Like, I don't get it. Let me see what else you guys have been saying in the comments. Someone said Mike Brown is not the coach that we need. Michael Malone is the key. We need toughness. Look, I don't know if Michael Malone is really the answer either. I don't know who the answer is at this point. I honestly, look, I didn't think Mike Brown was like, some amazing, crazy good coach when we first brought him in. I understood Mike Brown's flaws, and I understood Mike Brown's history and whatnot, but I didn't think it would be like this. I didn't think that we would still have no clue what everybody is doing. It's ridiculous. It really is, and I'm just so frustrated. I look, I'm just dejected at this point because I expected a lot better out of this team. A lot better. Let's see what else you guys have got to say. I'm going to scroll up a little bit to see some earlier comments. Someone said they need a fire lit. He doesn't motivate them at all. I don't know what Mike Brown is doing, but clearly whatever he's telling them in practice or even in games is not translating to them very well. And this is not what we want right now in late March, about to be April. We're at a time where we need to be locked in. We need to be like on the same page. The players need to know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And tomorrow is a game where you kind of have to get right against Memphis, and Lord knows if we lose that game, oh my God. If we lose the game against a 25-50 Memphis Grizzlies team tomorrow night, I'm going to be like really concerned. I'm already really concerned right now, but I'm going to be extremely concerned if something happens tomorrow. And granted, maybe tomorrow they come out and they blow out Memphis in Memphis, and that would be ideal because the Grizzlies have literally all of their main guys sitting out. Knicks probably won't have Mitchell Robinson if they decide to sit him in the back-to-back, but that just shouldn't matter. Let's see what someone else said. Let's see. Someone said Brunson is such an amazing talent, and Brown is damn near doing Tibbs ball by just hoping he hits all of his shots. Yeah, we're seeing way too much of that Brunson ball lately. And look, in that third quarter today, I felt like they were actually finally trying to give Cat the ball, and Cat started scoring. But and Carmelo Anthony made this really good point too during halftime. He said like he's not seeing any pick and rolls between Brunson and Cat. He's just seeing them two standing on opposite ends of the court, and Brunson kind of just doing all the work. You have Karl-Anthony Towns on your team who can be an elite pick and roll threat and an elite pick and pop threat, and you're not utilizing him. Cat took 1 shot in the first half, not 1 shot, but 4 shots, basically 1 shot. If you really want to, it felt like 1 shot. Against Oklahoma City, he took actually 1 shot in the first half, and then today he only took 4 in the first half. Why? Why are we like not giving him the ball? Why are we not involving him? This is our all-star center. This is a guy that we are gifted to have because he's, this amazing offensive talent, and we're not even using him. I don't get it. And like Josh Hart, for example, he's not looking to score the ball. Still, he's still doing those same things that he was doing before. And Brunson's gonna go through hell on offense. He's got to go through hell trying to score through two guys every time, or try to pass through two guys every time, while the rest of the guys on the court just stand there. So I don't know what the fix is at this point. I think the starting point is, of course, to move Josh Hart out of the starting five. I do think that's a starting point, but I don't think that's going to be um, the final solution. I don't think that fixes everything. And I'm not going to pretend like I have the answer as to what the solution is, but um, it's clear that what they have going on right now is just not working. It's not. However you guys want to paint it, or how to picture it, you guys are more than welcome to paint it however you want. But me personally, the way I am taking this away is that this group just isn't working. And I don't know if it's the coach, I don't know if it's the roster, I don't know if it's both. Personally, I think everybody is at fault right now. I don't think I can point to one guy and say that this is that guy's fault or this is that guy's fault. Um, Somebody said we shouldn't have these problems this late. We really shouldn't. And look, again, losing games is going to happen. I'm not saying that they were supposed to go undefeated over this final stretch of games. I didn't think they would go 0-3 over these 3 games, though. I thought a team that was trying to win a finals could go 2-1 at least, bro. 2-1, is that really too much to ask for these last 3 games instead of 0-3? And really, 2 of them you got outworked start to finish. Like I don't get it. Let's see what else you guys have been saying. I'm gonna take a water break, but feel free to leave more comments, and I will get to as many as I can. On the bright side, the Yankees are winning right now. So if we got Yankees fans here, they're winning. I don't know how the Mets did today if they play, but if there's Mets fans here, hopefully they did well. But baseball is the last thing I'm thinking about at the moment. Let's see what else we got. Someone said need to have a flow of energy and keep winning games. Yeah. And the problem is we can't win games right now because they just don't have any connectivity. They have no chemistry. They don't have any fluidity. I don't know. Whatever's being drawn up is not working. Whatever the players are trying to do is not working. Look, I don't know. I don't know. Someone said Knicks are a good team, but not a great team. They get to beat the bye fast of the younger teams. Pretty much. I mean, look, I think the Knicks at their best are a great team. Like I know you could say that about any team, but I think the Knicks at when they're playing at their best version of basketball are an elite basketball team. We've seen it this year, but we haven't seen it enough for a team that's trying to win a finals. The margin for error in the postseason gets so much smaller. You're not going to get away with dropping 3 games in a row in the postseason. So things need to change. Let's see what else we got here. Someone said maybe we need to swap out some starters and start some bench guys. They seem hungrier. I don't think they're gonna do like some max exodus of swapping out a bunch of starters in exchange for bench players here. But I would expect at this point, and I would expect this for a starting lineup change to be made. And I don't know who that person will be that will get subbed. I don't know if that's going to be Josh Hart or Mikal Bridges. You figured those would be the top 2 leading candidates for that. But I would like to at least expect that somebody gets taken out of the starting 5. Somebody goes to the bench to just look for something different. Throw a different look at them. Because how much longer are we going to throw this current starting 5 out there before Mike Brown realizes that unit sucks together, that unit cannot play together, that the statistics have literally shown all year that it's one of their worst lineups, and it's like one of their worst performing 5-man lineups. How much longer are we going to have to deal with that? Someone asked, do you think we can still take the 2nd seed? Honestly, no. I think we're running out of time on that. And I think at this point we need to now try to worry about falling down to 4. I see we did get a comment on Twitter. I'm going to take off this overlay real quick so that I can pull it up here for you guys. Someone said Cat needs to get more involved in the offense. Absolutely. I mean, look, one shot in the first half against OKC and 4 shots in the first half tonight. That's not acceptable for a guy who's your all-star big man, a guy who is one of the most gifted all-around scorers in the NBA. Yes, in the NBA. There are not many players with his kind of skill set, and we're not maximizing it. We're not utilizing it at all. Let's see what else we got here on Instagram as I look through some of these comments. Someone said Brunson does seem hurt or checked out. I thought I was the only one peeping. I'm not gonna assume that he's injured or what his mindset is either. I don't think. Look, I don't. Brunson didn't play well today. I will acknowledge. I'm not gonna pretend like he played well today, but I think Brunson's life is much harder just given what he's being what his supporting cast is out there doing. Not giving Cat the ball, not moving around enough off the ball, um, not making the timely shots, not being aggressive enough. Brunson's gonna go through hell because Josh Hart has the centers on him and he's doing nothing with them. So he's just gonna go through hell all game. And that's just the reality. Let's see what else we got. I'll probably stay on this live for like another 5 to 10 minutes max, and then I'm gonna call it a night because it is pretty late here on the East Coast, and I just wanted to fend off an instant reaction to this game, a kind of event session, if you will. Um, and I see a lot of you guys have also been using this opportunity as event sessions, so good to see that. I'm gonna scroll down to more recent comments, just because I mean I've missed a lot of comments, and I do apologize that if I don't get to your comment, um, there's just so many people commenting, which I do appreciate all the people commenting. I really do appreciate it. It's impossible for me to get to every single one, unfortunately. Um, but I do still appreciate it nonetheless. It's great support. Um, Somebody said, "Do you think Mike Brown is a good coach?" Obviously, that's a very um, I guess a broad question, but I'll still answer it. I do think Mike Brown is a good coach, but do I think Mike Brown is the guy to lead this group? I don't have that answer right now because the way I'm looking at it right now, I'm not confident in saying he definitely is. And look, I still firmly believe that getting rid of Tibbs was the correct choice. I do think that that was still the right decision, whether you guys believe that or not. I know that we have a handful of Tibbs supporters and obviously a handful of guys who don't support it, but I still think moving on from Tibbs was the right choice. We still had a lot of these same issues with Tibbs, so maybe we could look at it as a roster problem too. But Mike Brown clearly has not been able to maximize this group, and I think the group has a ton of talent. So it still boggles my mind that a team with this much talent can struggle so much. Someone said they are a good team, just not consistently elite. Well said. This is a good team. This is a team that is going to the playoffs. They have already clinched a playoff spot. This is a good basketball team, but it's not one that many are looking at right now as, yeah, that team's going to the finals for sure. Teams are looking at like the Thunder and the Spurs and perhaps even the Celtics and going, yeah, those teams are at least going to the conference finals. Teams are looking at the Knicks right now and going, that team can lose in the first round. It's just true. Do I think they'll lose in the first round? No, I hope not. But can you really rule anything out at this point? Let's see what else we got. Someone asked, do I think Brunson could guard bigger guys? No, and I don't think they should be throwing Brunson on bigger guys. I don't think it's hard to, hide Brunson's defensive flaws, and I thought they did a good job of doing that throughout February. I think lately though we're seeing it lapse again. Someone said, "I'm so pissed, man. How do we start games this badly?" That's the most frustrating thing, honestly. The slow starts are the most frustrating thing out of everything that this team has. Out of every flaw that I can dive into and talk about with this group right now, the slow starts are the most frustrating and most aggravating part of all of it because they'll look so good in the second quarters and fourth quarters, for example, but in the first quarter they look like they've never played together. Why? They have played 76 regular season games together this season, and they played 82 games together last year. At least the starting five did. That's more than enough games to know who you are and what role you're supposed to be playing and what the strengths and weaknesses are. This is year 2 of this group. So there's no reason that there should still be chemistry issues or um, anything like that. There's really no reason for that. No reason. So we can look at the coach, we can look at the roster, but I am looking at the coach a lot here for these past few games because you need to get your team to wake up. I mean, the team has so much talent. They need to wake up. The playoffs are 6 games away for the Knicks. They need to wake up. It's hard to break certain habits. And I've been preaching about the bad habits and stuff. I've been preaching about that stuff really since January. Honestly, since late December. And some people got upset that I was, pointing those things out even during winning stretches, but look, we're holding our standard to a finals team here. And I think a lot of us can sit here right now and say that this team's not playing like a finals team. They're not. And maybe in a couple weeks they will look like a finals team, and that would be amazing if that is the case. But we can't just assume the future. We have to stay present here, and the present is that they're not playing like a finals team. They're playing like a really they're barely even playing like a playoff team, but overall it's been like, kind of like a mid-level playoff team. Like how people are viewing the Cavs is how other teams are viewing us. I'm just being honest. Like, how we view the Cavs as like, oh, a team that's good, but a team that you probably can handle in the playoffs. Other teams are looking at the Knicks and thinking the exact same thing. They're going, oh, well, I'm not worried about the Knicks. They're so inconsistent, and if you shut down Brunson, then they're gonna be lifeless. They shut down Brunson today. The Rockets did, and what do you know? We lost the game by 20. Someone said, I mean, I would rather them play like this now instead of in the playoffs, but at the same time, we got to figure it out. I mean, yeah, that's very true. Two things are true. Like, I would rather them have these issues during the regular season as opposed to the playoffs, but at the same time, I would rather them not have it at all at this point in the year. I think now at this point in the year, we shouldn't be having these same issues that we had back in November or back in October or December, whatever. I don't think we should be having any of these problems anymore. We're in March and about to be in April. We're supposed to look like we're ready for the playoffs, and right now they do not look like they're ready for the playoffs at all, and they haven't looked like they've been ready for the playoffs since the winning streak began. And it's ironic because a 7-game win streak, you would think that they're ready. No, in that winning streak, they played a lot of ugly basketball too. Their last 10 games have been pretty ugly. So, can we really sit here and say that they're ready for a finals run? Because I don't think they're ready for a finals run. I don't think so. I want them to prove me wrong. I want them to start playing better these next final 6 games. But when is it going to end? When are they going to wake up and actually find some consistency? Because they haven't been able to find any of it. Somebody said, I don't understand how we have the best ranked defense over the past month or so because the defense looks abysmal. Yeah. And look, the metrics, again, are going to suggest that they have the best defense since January and that they're, one of the better defensive teams at the moment. And maybe, sure, since January they have been, but I think the past like 4 or 5 games, their defense has been poor. Just being honest. Someone said our rotation is too inconsistent to be a consistent team. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I pointed this out on Twitter, and I did post this on the Fireside Knicks Instagram, and I pointed out OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges' stat lines. And look, I'm not trying to point them as the 2 reasons why we lost the game, but I feel like we've had too many games where at least one of those 2 guys is struggling offensively. And again, bad games are going to happen. I'm not expecting every single player to be perfect every night. Sometimes you win games and a guy has a bad night. But those are your 2 wings that you sacrificed a lot of money and a lot of assets to because you believed, or if you're the Knicks here, you believe that that those 2 guys were going to be the key pieces to a finals team, to a championship team. That those 2 guys are the missing puzzle pieces to a championship team. And it feels like every night one of those 2 guys is having an off night offensively. More often than not, it's Bridges, but OG has had his fair share too. He's not safe from criticism, and don't get me wrong, OG. We know OG is 9 times out of 10 your best defender. I didn't think he was great tonight, but I can't point the finger at just him. I thought everybody was bad tonight on defense. Somebody asked who needs to step up the most, and that's a good question. And it goes to who I just said. The 2 wings, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, are the 2 guys who need to step up. Obviously, Karl-Anthony Towns needs to take more shots. Obviously, that's one of the first and foremost things, but um, it's that's as simple as just getting him involved. Mikal Bridges and OG are getting shots up though, and they're struggling. At least, especially Mikal. Those two guys need to step up because those two guys right there, um, that's your difference makers right there. Let's see what else we got here. I see some of you guys are still commenting. I'll stay on this stream for another 5 minutes or so since we have a decent amount of people in here for a change. And I do appreciate everybody that is tuned in. I know it's late, so I do appreciate that. Someone keeps asking if I think the Knicks have too many stars on the team. I don't know if you can really have like too many stars on the team. I think that the problem is they're just not gelling together. I don't think it really has anything to do with like what kind of stars they have or what stars they don't have. I think it's just a matter of the specific group is not working. And I think Mike Brown is to blame for it too. Someone said it's not late yet. To me, it's not late, but I know to some others it may be late. So, um, do what you want with that information. Let's see. Let's see what else we got. Someone said tonight they were protecting the paint too much when Houston was red hot from three and they didn't adjust. Absolutely. There were way too many open looks that Houston got from three. Way too many. I mean, Tari Eason, who couldn't buy a three for a while, hit his first three threes tonight. I mean, you leave an NBA player wide open, they're going to make shots. Remember when Lakers fans were upset that Landry Shamet, of all players, was the one who beat them when we beat the Lakers back in January or February, wherever it was? Look, you leave an NBA player wide open, they're going to hit it. They're going to make it. 9 times out of 10, they will make it. Someone said, I will say I loved how aggressive Cat was playing towards the end tonight. We needed that all game long. Yeah, I agree. I like that aggression, but I need it more. I don't need it in a 5-minute interval when we're down by 20. I need it more. I need it way more than that. Someone said, let's hope the playoffs tell a different story. Absolutely. I mean, let's hope the playoffs do tell me a different story. I want the playoffs to prove me completely wrong about every point I've made about this group. I really do. In a situation like this, I would love to be proven wrong. I really would. I don't care if my agenda is right or not. I care about the team winning games. So if I'm wrong about something I say, but it means the team's winning, great. Fantastic, honestly, because that's always going to be first and foremost for me. Someone said, "Who's your dream first round?" Look, I to be honest, obviously I would say Toronto or something, but I think where we're at right now, they can lose to anybody. They can lose to anybody as much as they can beat anybody. They can beat anybody when they're playing at their best. We've seen it. They can lose to anyone though too. Last year was the same story. Last year, a lot of us felt like that we would smoke Detroit, and really we were one more bad 2-minute stretch away from having to play a seventh game against Detroit. If Brunson doesn't hit a game winner, we're going back to the Garden for Game 7 against Detroit, a team that won 14 games the year before. So, someone said coaching decisions in the fourth quarter are not the best. Yeah, and I think coaching decisions lately overall have not been the best. Someone asked, why do I think Tibbs should have been fired? Look, I think Tibbs should have been fired because it's a lot of the same reasons why the team's struggling right now. They lacked consistency with Tibbs, but they had a lot more offensive problems than with Tibbs than they do with Mike Brown. The problem with this Mike Brown team is their defense is an issue. Their defense has been inconsistent. Their defense has been one of the best in the league overall since January, but they've had so many lapses and they've lost so many games because of poor defense. And sometimes their offense gets clunky too. And I think Mike Brown is trying to implement a system that doesn't exactly fit these guys. Like, I think the system itself can be successful. Shooting a lot more threes and moving the ball. That sounds like it could be a great system. It does. I just don't know if these guys on the roster are equipped for it. And I don't think Mike Brown has done necessarily a good job at kind of adjusting his coaching style to fit these players a little bit. I don't think he's doing himself any favors. And I don't think the players have done themselves much favors either by buying into it. Because, I mean, Cat Lady said it 2 nights ago. They're still trying to figure out his role. He's still trying to figure out what he's supposed to contribute to this team. You know what I mean? I see we got a YouTube comment. I'm going to take the overlay off the screen for a moment so I can pull it up. And I see we had another Twitter comment as well. I'll get to that as well. Somebody said, salute. I think we'll be fine by playoff time. I do hope you're having a good night. I really do. And I hope we will be fine by playoff time. I can only hope. I can hope that the playoffs will be different. That's all I can hope for. And somebody on Twitter also asked, would I start Mitch? Look, I've been saying that the double big lineup is their best lineup, and I firmly believe that that's their best lineup. Um, I just don't know if they're going to end up doing that because they won't have a backup center that can really, back them up. Um, they probably like Mitch coming off the bench, which is fine. I think you would ideally start Deuce. I know Deuce was terrible tonight, but it was basically his first game back because his actual first game back got cut short. Um, so we'll see what happens there. I see we have another YouTube comment. Someone said if the 2023 8-seeded Heat can make the finals and the 1999 8-seeded Knicks can make the finals, I think we'll flip the script and win the East. It's a good mindset to have. It's just, we can't expect that to happen all the time, And I know the Knicks aren't going to fall to the 8th seed. They've already clinched the playoff spot, so they can't fall any lower than 6. And realistically, they won't fall any lower than 4 probably. But still, I think it's just, the regular season can tell you a lot about who you are as a team. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people have been saying that the regular season doesn't necessarily matter, and I guess when you look at it from a wider scope, sure, it doesn't mean anything, but um, it still can tell you what kind of team you have. I'll answer a couple more questions and then I'm gonna end the stream. Somebody asked, what is happening in the first quarter of all these games? They start terribly. They just don't lock in the first quarters. It's as simple as that. They look like that they have not warmed up, that they are not used to playing with each other. I don't understand it. I don't know what mentality they have when the games begin. If they think that they're just gonna, cruise through the game or kind of just go through the motions, or if they think like, oh, we'll use this time as our warm up period and then, then we'll press the gas a little bit more in the second quarter. Teams are catching them napping. That's simple as that. They're catching them napping, and the Knicks are paying for it right now. Let's see what else we got here. Someone said, I think they need a players only meeting. Look, I said it before. Like, I don't know if a players only meeting is going to change anything at this point in the year. We're so far into the season. Um, I don't know if a players only meeting is going to change anything. I see we have another YouTube comment. I'm going to pull it up right here. Somebody said, yes, Brown can make better adjustments. I think he is better than Tibbs in the playoffs. Tibbs is 48 and 55 and never made an NBA Finals. Brown is 55% in the playoffs and made an NBA Finals. Well, look, Mike Brown made the NBA Finals because he had LeBron on his team. The Knicks don't have a LeBron on their team, but they do have Jalen Brunson, who's a superstar, and Karl-Anthony Towns is an all-star. So I would like to hope that, that track record would suggest that the Knicks will be fine in the playoffs. But Mike Brown also he has a ring as a Golden State assistant, but he doesn't have a ring as a head coach. So we just gotta hope and pray that the team can figure it out. Someone said they need to abandon the 3 when they're down, dump into Cat in the post, drive and lane, etc. Look, I feel like they've been trying to do that though, and it just hasn't worked because Cat's not being aggressive trying to score it. So, I mean, I don't know what if it's like the system that's the reason for that, but there is a reason. I just don't know what the reason is, honestly. Somebody said, I mean, if you fire a coach, you gotta have a plan. I agree that they gotta have a plan, but I also didn't mind I didn't mind their process because they were the only team at the time that was searching for a head coach, really out, at the time. So, um, you know, I that's really all I gotta say about that. I mean, they were the only team looking for a coach, so I didn't mind that they were checking in on other teams first before they went to the guys that um weren't currently employed. Somebody said, "How do I keep my hair and facial hair so splendid?" Oh man, that's funny. Anyways, let's see what else we got before I wrap things up here. Um, let's see what else we got. Somebody said trade for John Morant. No. No. That's all I'm gonna say to that one. No. I see we have another YouTube comment. Let me take down the overlay and pull it up. I do appreciate everybody who is tuning in on every platform. We're on YouTube, my Twitter, and Instagram. If you guys are on YouTube and Twitter, please make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and of course follow my Twitter. And if you're watching this on Fireside Knicks Instagram, make sure you follow Fireside Knicks. We post a ton of Knicks content every single day. But anyway, somebody said, "Do you think a trade in the offseason will help the team?" I don't know. I don't know. I want to start saying things about that, but I'll hold off on trade talks or anything like that until the season's over because a trade right now can't fix this current group because the trade deadline's obviously over. So I'm not even gonna think about trades at the moment. But I know it's a conversation a lot of people want to have. Um, but I just can't think about trades at the moment. Let's see what else we got. I'm looking through Instagram. Um, let's see what else we got. And I know some people have been suggesting in the comments to trade Brunson. Look, no, I'm not only person I would even consider trading Brunson for. Not even really consider, but even at the slightest consideration would be like a Giannis or somebody like that. But otherwise, I'm not moving Brunson. I think you can win with Brunson. I firmly believe you can win with Brunson. We've seen Brunson take us the farthest we've ever gone. So I don't believe that trading Brunson is the solution here. Somebody said, "How's the 3-point defense so bad?" I I wish I knew the answer because I mean, when you have a team that employs Miles McBride, uh, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Landry Shamet, who's improved defensively, you have those guys on your team, and Jose Alvarado too. You have those guys on your team who are supposed to be like exceptional defenders, and they can't defend. I I, I don't know. Somebody said, "I think a package with Donovan Mitchell for Brunson would be better for us." I disagree. Honestly, I disagree. I think I have no reason to believe a Donovan Mitchell led team can win a championship. We've seen Donovan Mitchell have a one-seeded Jazz team that got knocked out in the second round, and we've seen Donovan Mitchell have a high-seeded Cavs team last year that also got bounced in the second round. So I have no reason to believe that um, a Donovan Mitchell led team can be successful. Someone said, "I wish Deuce clicked when he came back. We kind of hyped him up just to be 1 for 8." I look. I Deuce was terrible tonight, but I wasn't expecting him to play well. He's been out of the game for 2 months. I'm not gonna go hard on Deuce right now, but I understand him being 1 for 8 was not very helpful. Someone said, "I think this is the last thing I'm gonna mention, by the way, because it's really late and I want to end off the stream on a good note." But somebody said, "I think this last stretch of games against playoff teams like the Celtics and the Hornets will tell us a lot." And this is a good one for me to finish it off on it because I do fully agree with that. I think right now they're proving that they can lose to anybody. They're proving that they can lose to anybody as much as they can beat anybody. Um, but they still have an opportunity to turn things around and to prove otherwise. They have another game against the Hornets. They have another game against the Celtics. They have a game against the Red Hot Hawks coming up as well. They have games. Um, they have games that they can prove something. They need to take advantage of it. They need to be able to really find their footing at the right time. That's really all I can say about that. But anyways, guys, I do appreciate everybody who did tune into the stream. I know it's late for some people. I know for some others it's not so late. But anyways, I do appreciate everybody who tuned in on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere that I was streaming this on. If you guys are watching this on Instagram, make sure you follow my Twitter. It is at Dylan Backer ESM. If you guys are watching this on YouTube and Twitter, make sure you follow my Twitter. It's right there on the screen on the overlay. And make sure to subscribe to Fireside Knicks on YouTube and to follow Fireside Knicks on Twitter. We're also on other social media platforms as well. We're on TikTok, Facebook, um, obviously Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. Pretty much any social media platform you can think of, we are on there. So make sure you guys follow us on all that as well. Somebody said, "Thank you for this. We all needed to vent." Of course, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, and I promised that I was going to be doing more streams, and unfortunately, I won't have enough time to stream tomorrow. Maybe I'll go live after tomorrow's game. Depends how it goes. If they blow out the Grizzlies, I probably won't go live right away, but I will eventually do a live to discuss the game, maybe the day after. I went live for this one because, I figured a lot of people needed to vent. I needed to vent as well. So, and I won't have enough time tomorrow to be able to do that. So I did that after this one, but maybe I will make these an after game thing. If you guys want me to do them after these games, right, like right after these games, I will do them. I will do them after these games, and I do plan on doing them right after playoff games. I do plan on doing that. And hopefully we will also have Johnny for those as well. So we'll be able to get multiple opinions on here as well, along with you guys all in the comments. But anyways, guys, as I just said, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff. People are saying yes, please after games. Okay, then I'll do them after games since it seems like you guys want them. Again, if they blow up the Grizzlies tomorrow, though, I'll see. It depends. Maybe I will. If you guys really want me to, I will. But if not, I'll do it the next day. I'll figure it out. But I will definitely either way, I will be on here and doing a stream for it one way or another. Anyways, guys, I'm going to end it here, though. I do appreciate everybody tuned in. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'm going to head out. So peace out. Let's go Knicks, and let's hope they win tomorrow night.